They laughed at him. They called him mad. They said he was cursed. But what they didn't know was that the man pushing a broken wheelbarrow used to ride a Lamborghini. His name was Jide, a young billionaire living in Dubai. At just 29, he owned 5 luxury restaurants, 2 sky bars, and more money than he could ever spend. But money couldn't buy him peace. It couldn't buy him trust. And it definitely couldn't buy him real love. Because the last woman he gave his heart to broke it into pieces. So Jide did something crazy. He left everything behind. No guards, no cars, no suit, no chains. He flew back to Banana Island in Lagos and entered a poor, forgotten village called Umuopara, a place where nobody knew his name. He dressed like a poor beggar. He carried an old wheelbarrow with one shaky tire and walked from house to house, picking up dustbins and dirt just to survive. People in the village mocked him. "Lazy Lagos dropout! Look at this hungry rat! Who comes to suffer in a village?" They spat on the ground when he passed. Children threw sachet water at him. But Jide kept walking. He said nothing, because he had a mission, a secret mission. He found a small broken mud house with a leaking roof. The landlord, a strange old man with sharp eyes, asked too many questions. Jide just smiled and paid him in cash. That night, he sat alone by a lantern light. His phone buzzed, a message from Dubai. It was his cousin, Lanre. "Things are falling apart, Jide. One investor has pulled out. If you don't return, we may lose everything." But Jide didn't reply. Instead, he pulled out a photo of a woman. She was beautiful. Her makeup was perfect, but her smile was fake. She once told him, "I love you." That same woman sold his secrets to his enemies. Jide looked at the photo for a long time. Then slowly, he lit a lighter and burned it to ash. This wasn't just a new chapter. It was war. By the second week, everybody in Umopara village knew him. They called him Dustbin Boy. Every morning, Jide would wake up before the sun. He tied a dirty cloth around his head, pushed his old wheelbarrow, and walked from house to house, asking people, "Please, madame, let me help you carry your dustbin. You can give me anything, food, gari, or small change." Sometimes they gave him leftover soup or rice. Sometimes they chased him away with broom and insults. One angry man once shouted, "Thief, I don't have dustbin for you. Get away before I pour you hot water." Another woman spat on the floor and said, "What is wrong with this boy? See, is he fine, but still carrying dustbin?" Children laughed and called him Mr. Gutter, dirty pig. They threw stones and sand at his wheelbarrow. But Jide never shouted. He never fought back. He just smiled and moved to the next house. One day, things got worse. Someone accused him of stealing a woman's gold earrings. Before he could talk, a crowd surrounded him. "Thief! Thief!" "Beat him!" "Called the police!" They started to pull off his shirt. They pushed him to the ground. Just then, an old man shouted from the corner, "Leave him! He is innocent! This boy no thief anything!" The crowd stopped. Jide stood up. He wiped his face quietly and walked away. Far away, behind a glass window, a young lady was watching. Her name was Ego.
the only daughter of Chief Obasi, the richest man in the village. She had seen how Jide helped an old woman carry firewood earlier that day. She saw how he smiled even when people insulted him. There was something about him, something strong, something real. But when she told her best friend Chioma about him, Chioma screamed, "Are you mad, Ego? You, a chief's daughter, falling for a dustbin boy? Don't even let your father hear this. He will faint." Ego didn't say anything. She just looked out of the window and smiled softly. But unknown to her, her father, Chief Obasi, had his own dark secret. Late at night, he met two strange men behind his compound. One of them carried a brown envelope. The other carried a land document with a fake signature. Chief Obasi took the money, lit a cigarette, and said, "Tell the buyer the land is clean. We need to wash this money before the next election." And just like that, the biggest secret in Umopara continued to grow in the dark.
The rain came fast, loud, angry. The sky turned dark. Thunder roared. People ran. Shops shut. Doors slammed. But one person was still outside. Jide. He was pushing his old wheelbarrow, soaked from head to toe. His clothes clung to his body like wet rags. His slippers had broken. The cold wind slapped his face. Still, he didn't stop. Then, a soft voice called out, "Hey, you, come here." He looked up. Ego, standing near the market gate, holding a pink umbrella. Eyes soft, but voice firm. "Yes, you," she said again. "Come." Jide looked around, confused. Was she really talking to him? He pushed his wheelbarrow slowly toward her. His lips were purple from cold, his hands shaking. Without saying a word, Ego pulled him under her umbrella. They walked fast, through the rain, straight to her compound. "Follow me," she whispered. Not through the front, through the back, past the kitchen, through a side door, into her room. She gave him a towel. She gave him warm yam and egg sauce, then poured cold orange juice into a glass. Jide tried to speak, but his throat was too tight. "No need to talk," Ego said gently. "Just eat." But suddenly, the door opened. It was her mother. She looked at Jide, then the towel, then the food. "What's going on here?" she snapped. "He was cold. Ego, are you mad? You're feeding a beggar, a street boy? Wash your hands, now!" Ego looked down, silent. Later that night, word reached Chief Obasi. "Your daughter was hiding and feeding the dustbin boy." He slammed his stick to the ground. "If I ever see her near him again, I will disown her. I swear on my father's grave." But outside the compound, something strange was happening. At the village square, a drunk madman danced under the mango tree. Suddenly, he pointed at Jide from afar. "Now me train that boy for Dubai kitchen. That's my Oga Jide." People laughed. But Jide, his heart skipped.
3 days after the rain, Chief Obasi called a meeting in his sitting room. He wore his best red cap. His gold walking stick shined under the bulb. "I've had enough," he shouted. "My daughter will not marry a dustbin boy." Ego sat quietly in the corner.
She hadn't seen Jide since that day. She missed him, his shy smile, his kind eyes, the way he said thank you without talking. But her father's mind was made up. "Honorable Desmond is coming from Abuja," he said. "Rich, powerful, connected to senators. That's who she will marry." That evening, a black Toyota 4Runner drove in. Dark windows, big engine, quiet tension. Bodyguards stepped out first. Then came Desmond. Tall, fair, wearing a white senator outfit and a gold wristwatch. Smiling wide, but his eyes were cold. He bowed slightly. "I heard your daughter is as fine as a morning rose." When Ego came out, Desmond stared too long. His eyes scanned her slowly. She felt uncomfortable. He held her hand, too tight, too long. His fingers felt like ice. Very pretty, very ripe. That night, Ego cried in her room. Her heart wanted Jide, but her father wanted power. "Marry Desmond, and we'll dine with senators," Chief Abbasi warned. "Refuse, and you'll sleep outside like a goat." But behind Desmond's smile was a dark secret. In a city hotel, he sat with red wine whispering on the phone. "She's perfect," he said. "The priest confirmed it. Her blood will open doors. 3 government contracts after the ritual." The voice on the phone laughed. "Just bring her before the full moon." Desmond smiled. "By the time they find out, she'll be gone forever."
One morning, Jide vanished. No goodbye, no note, no trace. His leaking mudroom was empty. His wheelbarrow gone. Even the village dustbins stayed full that day. People noticed, but nobody cared. Except Ego. She waited by the mango tree, hoping he'd pass. She asked the bread seller, the old hunter, even the small children. Nobody had seen him. "Maybe he ran back to Lagos," someone said. "Maybe he died in the bush," another joked. But Ego's heart? It didn't laugh. Her chest ached. Her eyes lost their light. She sat by the window every night, holding the same pink umbrella she once used to cover him in the rain. Villagers began to whisper, "See this one, crying over a dustbin boy? Ashawo love, she don't dey mad." Even her mother shouted, "Will you stop this nonsense and face your life?" But the worst came from her best friend, Chioma. She stood in the middle of the market and shouted loud for everyone to hear. Yes, Ego was hiding him in her room. She was feeding the boy like husband. She done fall for dustbin boy. Market women screamed, laughed, mocked. Ego ran home in shame. That night, she tore up Choma's pictures and burnt them. Her world had fallen apart. But far away, across the ocean, in a tall Dubai building, Jide was shouting on the phone, "You sold my restaurant, Lanry?" His cousin trembled. I panicked, bro. You disappeared. Investors threatened me." Jide slammed the desk, one of his branches gone, his heart in pieces. His plan to find love had cost him everything. But as he stared at a picture of Ego on his phone, he whispered, "Just wait for me, Ego. I'll fix everything."
Trouble had entered Umuwopara, but this time it came without a sound.
A black car rolled quietly into Chief Obasi's compound one hot afternoon. Two men stepped out. No smiles, no greetings. Just plain suits and sharp eyes. "Good afternoon, sir. We're from the Graceland and Property Unit, Abuja," one said. Chief Obasi's fingers twitched. "Is there a problem?" "We're tracing large sums linked to your company, fake names, stolen land. We'll be back for a full statement." No handshake, no farewell. They left as quickly as they came, but peace also left with them. That night, Chief Obasi locked himself in his room. He opened a small safe, flipped through dusty files, forged land papers, fake names, photos of men he had cheated and destroyed. His hand stopped on one thought: Jide. That boy came from nowhere, smart, too smart. Could he be a government rat? His voice dropped. "If he talks, I'm finished." He grabbed his phone. Find out who Jide really is. If he returns, silence him. Downstairs, Ego stood frozen behind the kitchen wall. She had heard everything. When she stepped into the living room, her father's voice cracked like thunder. "If I hear you say that boy's name again, I will throw you out of this house." Tears filled Ego's eyes, but she said nothing. Later that night, Honorable Desmond arrived with a black briefcase and a bigger smile. They sat behind the house, under the moonlight. "This is 5 million naira," Desmond whispered. "Push the marriage. No crowd, no drama. I want her by next week." Chief Obasi opened the briefcase. Money stared back at him. He didn't blink. Consider it done. But Desmond didn't know. Just behind the kitchen door, a small shadow stood still. Ego's little cousin, phone in hand, recording everything.
The sun was falling. The air was still. A man in a dusty brown hoodie walked alone through a narrow bush path. No cars, no guards, no gold chains. Just silence and a heart full of fire. It was Jide. He had returned, unseen, unheard. He followed a quiet trail that led to the old village shrine, a place where secrets cried in silence. And there, on the bare ground, was Ego, her red wrapper soaked with tears, her head bent low, her shoulders shaking. Jide hid behind a tree. He wanted to run to her, but something held him back.
The drums were loud, the lights were bright. The whole village gathered at the square. It was Ego's birthday. Balloons floated in the air. A big banner read, "Happy Birthday, our princess." Girls danced, children played, meat roasted over open fire. But Ego sat still, in her red dress, her face pale, her smile forced. Beside her, Chief Obasi stood up. He clapped twice. The crowd went silent. "My people," he began with a wide grin, "today is not just a birthday, it's a double celebration." The crowd cheered. Then, Chief Obasi pointed. A tall man stepped forward, white agbada, dark glasses, pride in his walk. It was Honorable Desmond. "I present to you," the chief said, "the future husband of my daughter, Ego." Gasps echoed. Some clapped. Some just stared. But Ego rose slowly. Her tears filled her eyes. And then she collapsed. Screams broke out. Women rushed to help. Water splashed on her face. Her eyes opened weakly. Suddenly, darkness. The lights went out. Plates fell. Children screamed. Then, brum. Engines roared. Flash. Headlights sliced through the night. A convoy of jeeps and power bikes entered the square. Police sirens, suited men. A white Range Rover stopped at the center. The door opened. Slowly. A tall man stepped out. White agbada. Sparkling shoes. Head high. Someone whispered, "Who is that?" But Ego already knew. Her lips parted. Her heart stopped. Jide, the dustbin boy, now dressed like royalty.
The crowd froze, mouths wide, eyes wider. Was this real? Was this the same dustbin boy? Jide stood tall, dressed in white, police in black jeeps behind him. But his smile wasn't small anymore. It was calm and powerful. He walked to the stage. Chief Obasi's face twisted with rage. "You again? What madness is this? Gods, throw him out." But the police didn't move. Instead, they saluted Jide. A senior officer stepped forward with a tablet. "Play the video," Jide said quietly. A big screen lit up. Footage rolled. Chief Obasi collecting money, signing illegal land papers, whispering with shady men. The crowd gasped. "That's our shrine land. He sold the farmland too." Obasi's voice shook. "Fake, all lies." He tried to charge forward, but two officers blocked him. "You are under investigation for land fraud. Stay calm." Ego sank to the ground. Her tears couldn't stop. Her father's shame now public. But Jide wasn't done. He turned to Desmond, who had started sweating. "Your turn." Another clip played. Desmond, in a hotel, on the phone. "She's pure, perfect. We'll use her for the ritual before the full moon." The crowd exploded. Police pounced. Desmond tried to run, but was slammed to the floor. "You are under arrest for trafficking and ritual activity." And just like that, the mighty men of Umupara had fallen. But Jide looked at Ego, and what he said next would shake her world.
The noise died down. The crowd was quiet again. Jide walked slowly toward Ego. She stood, weak, eyes full of tears, hands trembling. He stopped before her. His voice was low, broken. "Why didn't you wait for me?" Ego took a deep breath. "I did. I waited." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small wooden box. She opened it gently. Inside, a torn note with Jide's name, a toy plastic ring, a brown ribbon, a faded birthday card, a pink umbrella. "I kept everything," she whispered. "Even when they laughed at me, I never stopped believing in you." Jide stared at the box. His hands fell to his sides. His heart cracked. "I wanted to trust you," he said, "but the lies, the pain, I thought you moved on." Ego stepped closer. She placed his hand on her chest. "Feel this," she said softly. "It never stopped beating for you." He looked into her eyes, and for the first time in years, Jide saw peace. He smiled, then raised her hand for all to see. "Come with me," he said.
She blinked. To where? To Dubai. He turned to the crowd. But not just as my wife. He nodded to his manager. A giant banner dropped. Ego's Place, coming soon in Dubai. Cheers exploded. Women screamed. Men clapped. Some cried. And as the sun set behind Umupara, the dustbin boy and the chief's daughter walked into royalty together. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, because the next part, it will leave you speechless.